Hey, what's up, everybody? I am the maintainer of the ComfyUI Key API nodes, which uses Kie.ai, which is a marketplace for models. And the good thing about this is you don't have to have a monthly subscription to it. You sign up and you fund it with $5 to $10, and then every run reduces credits. You don't get billed every month. You just keep adding to it however you want. And I've been using Nano Banana Pro ever since it came out for various different projects. So I had to find the little API that I wanted to use, and Kie.ai was one of the cheapest out there as far as comparison and prices, which can add up for sure. I know ComfyUI has their own set of node APIs. And when I last looked, it was somewhere to 20 to 30 or 40% more expensive to run these. So I went ahead and just built my own, and Kie.ai has been pretty good. The only thing I've noticed sometimes during like peak hours, it can slow down a little bit, but that's just everybody hitting the APIs. So let's go ahead and talk about the new nodes. Today I've added basically Nano Banana 2, which is a brand new model that uses the Gemini 3.1 Flash, which with the Flash models, they're usually a lot faster and cheaper. So those are good things. But what they've also added in this one is being able to use Google search or to be able to pull in web data into the ComfyUI, or sorry, Nano Banana 2. So for example, maybe you're creating an infographic and you need to get at least some of the updated information that the model hasn't been trained on. I think from what I understand, it can go out and get that data and help you, you know, uh, generate that. So I've done an example or a test, still needing to play with it. It also, the difference between Nano Banana Pro is you can have 18, or sorry, not 18, but 8 reference images on Pro, and then Nano Banana 2 can take up to 14 images as reference. So I use Key, like we've said, and if you want to at least try it, you can go to. You'll need to add some credits. The minimum is $5. And this is where you can play with a lot of the models in their system. They have a lot of the current image, and they have the various video ones as well. So let's go into ComfyUI nodes I created. This workflow, which I've shared, also has Nano Banana Pro and Nano Banana 2. And again, here's a little bit of the price breakdown. Nano Banana 2, I don't know why you'd ever really want to do 1K, but 2K is 6 cents and 4K is around 9 cents. And then the Pro model, the 4K is up to 12 cents. So compare that with whatever API endpoint you're using, and you'll find that it's pretty comparable and probably a lot cheaper. Now, what I have done is a few tests right now from Pro to the Nano Banana 2. And I usually create prompts in a grid, a 2x2 or 3x3. I can create single images sometimes, depending on what I'm trying, my output is. But I find that like if I output to 4K with a 2x2, I can slice each section up and use those individual images. They're usually high res enough that they pass. Again, it depends on what you're doing and just whatever your workflow. I have a helper node that slices these up, which I'll also show. This is using a reference image of a character that I've had for a while. And I wanted to just throw it at both Pro and 2 and see what the outputs are. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a look at the high res version or the outputs. So this is Pro, and it's done a pretty good job of keeping the character, the clothing, facial structure. I don't really see any interesting artifacts or weirdness. And then let's look at what Nano Banana 2 output. And I can see I've been staring at the character for long. I can see different facial expressions here. And then over here, the eye seems a little messed up. And then also notice, I don't know if you can see, there's some JPEG artifacts. Maybe you can see that a little bit. like right here. So I don't know if YouTube will compress that. It may be passable, and maybe as a single image or a 4K output, we would have less artifacts. So that's like kind of the first thing I've noticed. But the model's super fast, and it seems to be doing pretty well so far. Let's see. Now here is one where I enabled the web search. So I just kind of had it like pull in the latest forecast for where I live, currently living in Thailand right now. And just to create an infographic, and let's see, open the image. It's about right. I mean, it's hot and looks like, yeah, UV index. Interesting. I love using Nano Banana to create infographics. It's one of my favorite things. So again, I'd love to see if you guys have any unique use cases, but what you need to do is make sure that you enable the Google search on this, and you should be good to go. It'll be interesting. I'll play more with it to see like what other data I can pull in. Another thing always, like, I don't know how, if people use this a lot, but I toggle the console log on and off a lot. And with my log enabled, you can kind of see how it's running, and it helps you debug issues. And then you can also see how much time has passed, and then like the output data. So it's always handy to have that when you're debugging things. Now here it goes into trying to do two images. One I'm using as a facial reference to lock in the face quality. And then the other one is the clothing and background. So this top one, they both use the same prompt and the same character. The top one uses this face, and then I'm using Kajai's image batch multi, and image one will be image one reference, and image one two is image two reference. And usually the way I do that in the prompt is can do reference image one or image reference one. I haven't really found a potentially wrong way, but at least I try to put it in brackets. So hopefully that's helpful. And then again, we're asking for a 2x2 grid. And then you can see I'll share the results. And here's where I added a helper node. So basically this is one single image. And let's actually look at that. So here is the output from Nano Banana Pro. Has seemed to align the face really well. There's a little bit one off that I don't necessarily like, but that's fine. And then let's look at, yeah, so this one's good. This one doesn't really align with the face. Ignore the little wink. I don't know what's going on there. I have the prompt kind of choose its own, output. But I would have to say between Pro and 2, Pro is still doing much better. Again, the pros and cons are the cost of 2 is cheaper, it's faster, and it has web-enabled search. So, but this grid, you can do 2x2 or 3x3 or 2x3, and it will automatically slice out each one of these images for you. So that's one of the benefits of what I use. And then what I can do from here is I can take one of these images and feed it into a video director prompt, which then creates prompts that you can feed in and create videos out of. So this is Banana 2, so 1 or Pro and 2. And then I think that kind of covers most of this. I do want to share that I have this. I found a lot of times when I'm doing things that I wanted a node that where I can, when I finalize a prompt and I have a good structure down, that I was constantly copying and pasting them from a folder or something like that. So I created this system prompt selector, and it basically takes a user prompt, which is up here, and then some predefined prompts that I've created. And you can create your own, which is the cool thing, and then generates a full prompt out of that for you. And then something like this output could be fed into your LLM of choice to generate your image prompt or video prompts. And it's pretty easy to add that. Excuse me. So in the Git repo, you have prompts, and then they're separated by image and video. And the README kind of tells you how to do it, and the user prompt is important. So just use brackets wherever in your prompt you want that. So that'll take this information and inject it into your prompt. So I think that kind of covers everything. Feel free to give me feedback on these nodes, or if you want, some new additions, or if you find a bug, I would love to know. If you do sign up on GitHub, I have my affiliate code, and I don't really make much money off of this. It kind of buys me a coffee here and there. But I'm doing this because, first of all, I wanted my own pack that is much cheaper. And I also like to give back to the community. So I feel that's important. So give me a comment, thumbs up or thumbs down. Not the best YouTuber, but, more riffing and off the cuff. And I will be opening up a little school to kind of share my workflows that I've done in the past. I have over 6 years of doing AI videos for DJs, projection mapping, advertising, music videos. So I'd like to start sharing some of that knowledge with you. So if anybody's interested, leave a comment and then I'll send you a link to it. If not, enjoy. Have a great day. I will be constantly updating and adding new nodes from the Kie.ai marketplace. Cheers.